Another week, and Drake is still number one on the charts. And I swear everyone I know is on the Drake album except me. And it's not just producers, it's also songwriters that I know that are on the Drake album. So now it's personal. I got to get on the next Drake album somehow just because everyone else I know is enjoying this amazing run. So I actually have a Drake story from many years ago, from before I even had my first major placement in the music business. And I'm going to tell that story. I also want to discuss why right now is actually a great time for producers in the music business. I think it is. And I feel like these 3 Drake albums, regardless of how you feel, this isn't about Drake versus Kendrick, for sake. I think this 3 album drop shows why producers matter, why beats matter. All these conversations about making beats being dead and producers not mattering and every beat sounds the same and trap beats are trash. I think there's a lot to appreciate from this moment. And if we are smart as a producer community, we will maximize and scale these moments up so that we can continue to enjoy them and create more and more opportunities for ourselves and for all the people in the producer community. If you don't know what I'm talking about, let me explain. CBC, so the Canadian Broadcasting Company, I'm pretty sure that's what that stands for. And it's a story about Drake bouncing back. And, even saying that alludes to, the feud. So I don't even want to go there. But it's an article about Boy Wonder. Shout out to him. I just don't want to talk about the beef. I have my own theories. None of them are mainstream. But you really can't bring up the Drake album without that topic being lurking in the shadows. So especially now that he's all over the top 100 and just broke a record for having 3 top albums at the same time. It was some kind of record. But to focus on the positive, it's cool to see a producer like Boy Wonder, who's not a rapper, doesn't sing hooks, doesn't put his voice on stuff, getting attention from a successful project that they helped work on. I feel like producers have come a long way. This is a win for producers. I think producers have come a long way. Cause I feel like unless you were really a nerd about music, you didn't know who producers were unless they were vocal, unless you heard their voice, like a Dre, a DJ Quick, a Timbaland, a Teddy Riley. You knew who they were, but you may not even have known what producers did. So nowadays you have Boy Wonders and Metros, et cetera, and they just make beats in their household names. But
are they though? Are like, I feel like, I mean, Metro's definitely
Metro is, oh yeah.
I mean, he puts out his own projects. So I feel like, I mean, you're more immersed in the producer community and you're aware of more of the names than me for sure. I only know the name if you shout it out like a Metro or you have your own projects and things like that. But I feel like it's similar. And producers never really, a lot of them never really got into this for the limelight. And so I would imagine they're okay not being front and center, right?
Yeah, I'm not necessarily talking about them getting fame. I'm talking about the public actually concerning themselves with what they do and what their opinions are. Whereas I don't think that was around 15 years ago. But I think last week I said everyone I know is on the Drake project but me. So that's kind of what I was referencing earlier. It does feel like, well, have you listened to any of the albums, James?
I just, from what I hear in like reels and stuff, I'm not, just music in general. Like I kind of have my go-tos and people put me on to different, typically independent artists here and there. But I'm not a huge Drake fan. I like a lot of the hits. But I don't think I have a single Drake song except for the one he did with Chris Brown might be in my playlist.
You talking about No Guidance?
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. That I'm pretty sure that went diamond. It feels like Drake took the G Unit approach this time, at least partially, in the regard that there are a lot of new producers on this project. He pulled a lot of new producers and songwriters, and that's kind of what G Unit used to do. But I think the main difference is, and G Unit for a while they had Shaw Money. He was kind of the the core when it came to the production sound. But Drake kept around, or rather, some people are saying brought back 40 and Boy Wonder. And my point is, I think production really matters. This show's production really matters because this is a pretty successful 3-album drop, record breaking, in fact. And the production is a big part of that. I feel like this is one of those Drake projects that's going to grow on people, even though I think a lot of people love it. Who knows? Everyone just kind of says what they say for the social media clicks nowadays. But I think it is going to grow on people, and I think the production is a big part of that. But to tie things together with the win that I was talking about earlier, the number one song in the country is Janice, Shut the Fuck Up. And it has been for a couple weeks. And that was written in part, by the hook at least, was written by a guy named, when I met him, he went by Illa. Then he changed his name to SOXO Supreme, and we did a bunch of songs together. And one of the songs, I just listened to it before we started recording. I'm like, this song is amazing. It's from 8 years ago. It's called Cut You Off, ESO.XO.Supreme. That song's been out. It didn't do what I thought it would do. I think to this day, it's a really catchy song, but it's cool to see him get a number one song, and seemingly out of nowhere. You know, the person that introduced us, Fats, just reached out to me. He was like, "Oh, Illa's number one." I was like, "What are you talking about? How did this happen?" So that's cool to see. Everyone I know is on this Drake album. Everyone. So I if there's another Drake album after this soon, I got to find a way to get on it. But production absolutely matters on these projects, and feel like I'm always like this close to getting on a Drake project, because I don't know if you know this, my first manager was Canadian and from Toronto, Brendan. Shout out to Lavish Life. And he actually discovered The Weeknd as well, in the sense that he was managing him early on before he was known as The Weeknd. And when I first linked up with them, it felt like there was a lot going on in Toronto that no one in the United States of America knew about. And this was like 2007. There was an artist they had worked with named Drake. And I was like, wow, I think this guy's pretty good. I think this Drake guy's a pretty good rapper. And I kept trying to get my manager to reach out to him. He's like, man, it's a little more complicated. You know, to this day, I don't know what he meant by that. Maybe it was just because at that time, people knew that something was going on with his career. And so it just wasn't a matter of emailing him beats or whatever, or there was something, but I've missed a few times.
I'm sure he'll have more albums to come. You'll have more opportunities, Payne. So try to line it up. Is there anything else that you wanted to pull out from this? I'm
topic? Curious to hear people, since the comment section is getting lively, what are your thoughts on the production, on the project? I want to have that conversation, not really the conversation about all the extras lurking in the shadows, the beefs and the lawsuits and all that. What is the opinion on the production right now? Because that's primarily why I listen to albums nowadays.
A lot of the stuff that I've heard in reels is like, you know, could have been, for me, again, I'm not a Drake huge fan, and I don't know his discography like that, but it sounded very similar to stuff I've heard before. Like just kind of the just a lot of the same. I don't, you know,
from Drake or from other artists?
From prior Drake. Like I don't.
Yeah. No. And I think that's key. I think honestly, I was having because there was so much hype for Iceman, and we didn't know when it was going to drop. We didn't know it was going to be a 3-album deal. And in my mind, I'm like, this has to be. I don't think Drake can afford to experiment on this like he did with some of his other projects and just throw us for a loop. I think this one has to be a little more grounded in what has worked for him as his core identity, his core musical identity, and he did it. He listened to me. Thanks for listening to me, Drake.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like, again, just my opinion, I feel like you should take some risks. I mean, I guess this is the case for Drake. Like everything he's done has had a shit ton of success. But I want to see artists evolve. I want to see them take more chances. I want to see how their artistry, like how they have like a strong command of their artistry and are confident enough to morph it along the way. Like, you know, again, I used to be a huge Kanye fan, like a lot of people. I feel like he's done that amazingly. Like, you know, I haven't really listened to his last probably 3, 4, 5, or 6 albums, but I feel like, you know, just how he evolved, you know, in the early days, his first 6, 7 projects. You know, I loved it. Even though he evolved musically in a direction that I'm not a huge fan of, I loved how he evolved until he became a weirdo.
Yeah, well, I mean,
So
Drake did that, but then people were mad. They're like, "Oh, he put out a house album. Oh, he put out a dance hall album," and Kanye didn't get the same type of pushback when he started experimenting. But maybe it was just because Kanye's experimentation wasn't. I don't know. Kanye didn't switch genres necessarily. He just went to a more avant-garde space. I don't know if that would have worked for Drake. I don't know. I think it's tough, Dame, when an artist that's super popular and super established starts taking musical risks that are too far from their core sound. I think it takes the right.
But I don't even think that's required, right? Like, I don't think.
No.
You know, from college dropout to graduation, for example, like I'm not saying become a completely different person. You know, and I'm not saying you got to jump into other genres, but you know, Kanye's first few albums, they're not the same. Like, and when I hear some of Drake's, even his cadence and his flow in some of these reels that I hear, it's like, oh, da 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 da. It's like, I don't.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know.
old.
Anyway,
Drake.
I don't really want to talk about Drake. We got other stuff to talk about. Unless, is there anything else we need to pull out of this topic before we move on?
No, drop a comment with the email for submitting beats to the next album, please.